first day of July, Wednesday, July 1st, 2026, and this is the Washington Times front page. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. The Supreme Court has handed down two key decisions to wrap up its term. First, the court forcefully affirmed America's guarantee of automatic citizenship to persons born on U.S. soil, rejecting an order President Trump issued at the start of his second term. Alex Sawyer and Stephen Dinan report the court's majority said the Constitution was clear when it granted citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, and that includes children of illegal immigrants or temporary legal visitors. The president sought to deny citizenship to children born in cases in which both parents lacked permanent legal status. Chief Justice John Roberts said the Constitution guarantees citizenship to all persons subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. He said American history and the history of the 14th Amendment show it was meant to include the diaspora of humanity, regardless of origin. Additionally, the court ruled 6-3 that states can bar transgender women from competing in women's sports leagues. The court upheld laws in Idaho and West Virginia that bar transgender athletes from competing in girls' scholastic sports. The ruling will likely protect similar laws in 25 other states. Justice Brett Kavanaugh wrote states may determine scholastic sport eligibility based on biological sex, and that the Constitution and Title IX do not require an overhaul of women's and girls' sports. The Trump administration is expected to announce it won't renew the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement implemented during President Trump's first term. The USMCA is automatically set to expire on July 1st, 2036, unless all three member countries agree to formally renew it for another 16-year term, Jeff Murdoch reports. If any country declines the extension, the agreement enters a cycle of mandatory annual reviews over the next decade to consider renewal. U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer has scheduled a third round of negotiations with Mexico for the week of July 20th, suggesting he would like changes to the existing deal. Ukraine has expanded its arsenal of coastal missiles and increasingly sophisticated naval drones, leading to a steady retreat of Russian naval power. Guillaume Patak reports repeated Ukrainian attacks on ships, dry docks, air defense systems, and logistics hubs in occupied Crimea have forced much of Russia's fleet to pull back in the Black Sea. The move means Ukraine has managed to loosen a naval blockade that once threatened to choke off the country's exports. Although Ukraine didn't win command of the sea in the traditional sense, it denied Russia the freedom to close the sea lanes. And finally, the nation's 250th birthday means historic taverns across the country are in the spotlight. Juliette LaSala takes us through a list of some of the oldest pubs in what were the original 13 colonies, many of which feature original wooden panels and architecture from the 17th and 18th centuries. They include Tappan, New York's Old 76 House, the 1734 Pirates House in Savannah, Georgia, and Warren Tavern in Charlestown, Massachusetts, which dates to 1780. Find all today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.
Marketing is hard. But I'll tell you a little secret. It doesn't have to be. Let me point something out. You're listening to a podcast right now, and it's great. You love the host. You seek it out and download it. You listen to it while driving, working out, cooking, even going to the bathroom. Podcasts are a pretty close companion. And this is a podcast ad. Did I get your attention? You can reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a pre-produced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience in their favorite podcasts with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com, that's Libsyn, ads.com today.